Alrighty, what's up guys? Matt here from Loon Outdoors, and today we are tying kind of a fun little pattern. It's one that I lovingly call the Joe Dirt. This is a very simplistic baitfish pattern, and I have like a SC15. You can use a B10S, any number of super good hooks in here. This happens to be a size 1/0, and today I'm going to be using the Ergo bobbin, the bigger guy, saltwater guy. 100D Vivus GSP is in the queue, and we're just going to go ahead and start off by creating a thread base here. So this pattern, I sent it kind of all over the place, had a lot of great responses, and I really enjoy patterns that look like everything but are kind of nothing. So this variation, I'm tying it in olive. You can tie it in tans, creams, oranges and white, blues, whatever. Kind of works across the board, but I'm going to be using some olive craft fur. And this pattern is just one of those really suggestive, weird, goofy little options that I come up with late at night. And it's a saltwater fly. Granted, I live landlocked in Northern California, so I, don't see the most saltwater species ever. So I'm going to take about a pencil's worth of craft fur here, and I'm not going to pull out. I like the taper that it comes naturally. I do pull out and trim away just this little bit of the underfluff. And what I do here is I'm going to go ahead and put it like a securing turn in, and go ahead and just kind of wrap this down. I do put it, I'm holding it so it stays on top. I'm not too worried about it. And I don't really worry about the wraps going in that much. So next up, I have some eyes that I've created using some 20-pound mono and UV resin in black. So I'm going to go ahead and put these eyes about little over a third of the way out of the front, and the place that we're running these eyes is down the sides of the shank here. I do want them to kind of stick out and look kind of shrimpy, so you can always just bend them a little bit once they're in there and secured. Gets you kind of a cool look, and all of a sudden you kind of have this shrimp fly pattern that is starting to take shape. Not really worried about the underbody here. But that's fine. So next up, I just use a little bit of this UV chenille. This is again in olive. I'm going to trim off just a few inches here. I have about 4 to 5 inches here. And I'm just palmering this in, and you can see as I palmer, I'm kind of brushing backwards to get the most out of this material. And I keep it because it does kind of tend to like bind underneath itself and create a little bit of chaos in the world. So once I'm about 2/3 of the way up the shank there, I'll go ahead and tie this in. This gives this a cool translucent nature. There's a little bit of UV reactive materials in here, and I just feel that it overall kind of adds to this shrimp nature of the fly. This is kind of the party section of the Joe Dirt. And so for the front of the fly, what I'm going to use is this is a cool little brush. This happens to be like kind of an orange and olive. It's a craft fur brush, and has a little bit of UV material in there. So with these wire brushes, you could do this in a dubbing loop and create kind of your own color combinations. For this fly though, I just kind of go real simplistic and just do a few turns here. That makes it really an easy fly to tie and kind of quick, because these brushes, I mean, let's face it, they're just going to save you a ton of time. So once we reach the eye, I'll go ahead and secure this in nice and tight. And I keep a really small little eye up front there, and I come over to like my oldest set of scissors that I don't use for anything else anymore, and kind of given up the ghost on, and cut the wire with that. I don't use the first out models. If you do, it's a bad move. So I'll go ahead and whip finish, and from here I like to use my bodkin, and I just go ahead and kind of brush through everything. Kind of, it's a steelhead style that I do, just kind of trying to pull loose materials and fibers out. But you can see the front of it kind of gets right into the back. So it's very suggestive, doesn't really look like totally anything. But it still kind of looks like a shrimp fleeing from there. So this is a fly that I've used for redfish on a few trips, and then have some buddies that have gone to Florida and fished this for baby tarpon, and it seems to work well for them. They were stoked. So next up, I apply 6mm eyes. I know this is a 4-eyed fly, and you know, we could pick on it all over the place, but the cool thing is that's why this is the Joe Dirt. It's got the business in the front, but the party's in the rear. And so whether the fish sees it coming or going, it looks like something. If the fish comes up behind the fly out of curiosity, it looks like a shrimp. Maybe he wants to eat. From a side profile, this could imitate like a spot on a baitfish or body coloration and stuff like that. So it also just kind of, it's just suggestive from every angle, which is what I love about the fly. It's kind of like a hare's ear. It doesn't really look like much of anything, but it looks like a lot of everything. So some of these little fibers do get a little bit stuck in this material here. And I'm using the thin right now, and I'm going to go ahead and finish out the baitfish head with this thin. And this is kind of going to be our circumferential glue up of the head, and I'm going to gently rotate while I cure. And once I have it kind of hit with the light and it's not going to be moving anymore, I can settle in for a little bit longer cure using the infinity light, and really make sure that I set this thing kind of Billy Mays style, set it and forget it. So overall, that's pretty much the fly. So if the fish is coming and looking at it from this profile, obviously when it's collapsed, you kind of have this spot back here, you don't know what's going on. Looks like a bait fish, but if the fish comes up from the back, it's very shrimpy in nature. Oddly enough, the way that it's built right now, with like the olives and, you know, some bait fish colors, white, oranges, whatever, I've had largemouth bass eat this thing. I've thrown this at a number of species and actually had success. So I think it's a great all-around fly for a number of weird applications that I've put it through. But it did really excel in like the Everglades, backcountry stuff, redfish fishing, all of that. So anyways, guys, that's the Joe Dirt. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching.